song's called JB.
That's my song.
Now my internet's the one flaking out.
Mm-hmm. All right, man, what's wrong with your internet?
All right, so this is Heroes Now. I guess Joe and I are going to talk about the stuff that's happening and get some ideas going and bounce things off of each other, and try to see what what the next step is. Oh, Joe, I want to show you. Can I take a minute? Do you mind? I want to show you this Warrior Bonfire program. Can I do that?
Yeah, check it out.
All right. Where's it at? Hold on. All right. So if you're coming on, come on, hang out with me. If you want the link to come on to Heroes Now, let me know. We're going to go guest on live for sure here at 6 p.m. Eastern. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the Warrior Bonfire. Yeah, here it is. So, Warrior Bonfire program provides opportunities that improve the lives of enemy combat wounded veterans, Purple Heart recipients, on their lifelong journey of recovery and healing. Your donations create activity-based, stress-free programs that promote camaraderie and therapeutic healing. So Sergeant Major Stout turned me on to these guys and gals, and so that's who I recommend that we give our charitable donation to instead of St. Jude's.
Okay.
Not that I'm not happy with St. Jude's. It's just that this seems to be more like what I think we should do. And we'll just keep the same percentages and we'll just switch it to the Warrior Bonfire program. And so if you agree to that I'll go, when we get some money, I'll make the next donation.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and do that, Will.
All right. I'll definitely do that. So that's the Warrior Bonfire program, and I hope to have Sergeant Major Stout on soon to talk about that. Let's see. All right, so we're calling this, or I'm thinking about this as Heroes Now. Kind of like a show, a talk, where people can just get on and we can talk about current things. Maybe it's things going on in their lives. Maybe it's something for advice. Maybe we're talking about politics. I've always felt like I was in the middle. I feel like it's easy for me to see a lot of sides. And, I've been interviewing people doing this Heroes Live and Heroes I Know. And Joe, if you notice, when I've been interviewing them, when we've been interviewing folks, it's no current events. It's all, it's all talking about, big picture things. Well, the people that I hear talking about current events are chirping over here or chirping over there, but there's no cohesive anybody that I know of that's doing anything in that way. And so James McCormick, Purple Heart winner, has asked me to consider, and I'm part of the Council for Vets for Vet Leadership. It is a nonpartisan charitable organization that is trying to get the American veteran more involved in the political voting process and, if necessary, running for office. They have he's been doing this for a long time, and I just kind of found out about it. But there's no place you can go that I've found where people like you and I can talk about things that are happening now and really, you know, have an open discussion, you know, like say, hey, what is going on with the baby formula deal? Why is that? What's happening? You know, is there anybody out there that's breaking it down that you're listening to? You know, I'm listening to some people. I know why it is. I fight through the chaff to try to find out somewhere where the middle is, right? I find that every news story is slanted one way or another. And if I try to read through the lines to try to find the middle, it's easy to find the middle. So, you know, that's one of the things that I think that could be something for Heroes Now. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you're the guy that brings some kind of question or something, you know, to the table, and we could talk about it or something. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe this is the test bed for when you say, okay, fine, let's play that game. You know, I don't know. But all of this, again, is part of the master class, you know, that I'm trying to just figure out, you know, how to do what we're doing so that, you know, these stories get captured in a way that's, you know, it's really so awesome. You know, look, Sergeant Major Rucker told a story about, you know, his mishap in the airplane, and oh wow, what a story. And he talks about the time where, you know, they shot the Vulcan at the enemy in the wire. Did you watch those videos?
Yep.
Oh wow, right?
Rip the patches off. It was done.
So, you know, I don't know. So, you know, what kind of thoughts do you have on this Heroes Now? Does it, you know, does anybody care? You know, I don't know.
I guess test run it and see what happens and see what kind of feedback we get. Yeah, there's so many different problems and situations going on in the world right now as we speak. I mean, gosh, where do you start, you know? And the thing is, we don't want to complain about what's going on in the world. We want to figure out a solution to the problem.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily let's just complain about everything that's going on in the world, i.e. school shootings, baby formula, Russia, Ukraine. Yeah, they're all problems. And if you don't have a resolution to the problem, you shouldn't even bring it up, you know? So that's something where we can get other people's feedback and possibly come to a conclusion that, hey, you know, this would be a great idea or a great way to fix this problem. However, how much power do we have, right?
So I thought we were a democracy. If that was the case, then we've got a lot of power, you know?
We've got tons of power. It's just a matter of getting them folks to vote.
Yeah, well,
you know, and that's another thing. You know, that's a whole nother animal in itself, right there.
Oh yeah.
It don't matter what you talk about. There's always a problem.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we have to you know, have some kind of way of communicating or talking, or maybe nobody cares. I don't know, but I look forward to a time when we can have a discussion about sensitive topics in a way that we're honoring to each other, and we're not, you know, screaming at each other about, you know, I don't know. Right. I don't know what could come up, you know.
Civil conversation. One would be civil. But at the same time, be able to pull something from that, maybe change your mind. Maybe you weren't thinking properly. Maybe you weren't thinking the same way somebody else was thinking. It'll help you open your eyes to everybody else's ideology and possibly come to a conclusion or solution to the problem. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not even talking about it will fix the problem. I don't know. You don't know, you know? but we've been taught to rectify the problem, have a solution for the problem. If you're going to bring the problem up on net, figure out a way to fix it or have a
Right.
solution. So I mean, being that we were all trained that way, I think it could be a very positive thing. I mean, it could be sexual assault in the army. It could be survivors. It could be, somebody who got out because they were sexually assaulted. It could be somebody getting kicked out of the military and why he was getting kicked out. Maybe we'll be able to come back and explain to them, hey, well, based on what we're seeing and hearing, this is why you got kicked out. This is your explanation, because that's what it looks like in somebody else's eyes. Yeah, I mean, let's just pick a topic and run with it. See if we
I love it. Yeah.
Get some feedback. You said Captain McCormick, James? He's part of what? What was that again?
All right. Okay. So Vets for Vet Leadership. Let me put it in the comments right here. Vets for Vet Leadership.org. So that is that's his website, and that's what they do, and they're nonpartisan, and they stand on 3 pillars, and I think it's strength, security, and respect or something, and it's just trying to. So here's the thing that I like about it, Joe, is that this is my friend,
right,
and someone that was on my team, and I know which foxhole he sits in because I stood next to him, right, in that same foxhole, okay? And
right.
So when he has an organization that comes to me and says, hey, here's our cause, all we want is veterans to stand in leadership positions in America today, because so many of us veterans have stepped out, right? I stepped out. I said, I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm like, no, just and I was gone, baby.
Yeah.
But what's happening is what he's trying to get is one of the things is so cool. Okay, here's the 2 main things he wants to do, right? Right. 2 main things. Sign up to vote and vote. That's it. Big time. Go sign up to vote. Go get your little card in advance. And then when it's time to vote, go vote. Okay. I'm awful at that. Okay. Many of us are. Okay. But then the other thing is he wants to basically list the local veterans that are running, people that stood beside us in that same foxhole, and we can say, doesn't matter what political affiliation they are, they just agree that they're veterans, and they say, yeah, we think that security and safety and respect are important. Look, it's not that hard hurdle to jump to say that you'll be a veteran. I mean, they've made it very, and so what James is wanting to do is to simply put together an organization that encourages voter registration and veterans to just be involved. And if you are a veteran and you're running, hey, yay, and, do these little pledges, and, with the Vets for Vet Leadership, well, they have if you go to their Facebook page, they got millions of people. It's amazing, their presence. So talking to James, that opened my eyes to all that kind of nonprofit stuff a little bit, and the back door behind all of these Facebook groups that you're a part of. You know,
Right.
you can be a part of any kind of group you want, but if you don't interact with that group, nobody sees that content, you know, because you
Right.
just the Facebook algorithm and all the algorithms, they're so wild, you know.
Right.
That's something else I want to talk about, right? Is where people are watching or getting, you know, the data, the show, or whatever
Right.
it is. I think that over time, YouTube is where, you know, we need to be long term, and we need to try to find a way to encourage those that are watching to subscribe to YouTube. It's pretty clear on YouTube what's happening, who's getting to see it, how they, you know, how things work. I'm not saying Facebook hasn't been, you know, a great place to connect, and it's definitely where most people watch at. It's just it's a confusing kind of quagmire sometimes to float through as a creator, and so that's an interesting thing. You know, I've always wanted to go straight to our website and straight off of our website.
Right.
And
it doesn't seem to be working that way.
Well, so like I said, we can. I just need to go through Vimeo,
Right.
and we can, you know, go live straight from the website.
How's that running us if we were to do that?
Well, so I think it's like $29 a month, you know, $30 a month, somewhere around in there.
Well, you and I just have to sit down and go over everything because we got money going all over the place right now. We got money going to all kinds of applications, Monday.com, Dropbox. It just automatically comes out of my account now. So we need to really sit down and figure that out.
Hey, I just got hit with a bill too. I was like, oh,
not that I don't care.
I know.
Yeah, it's funny. $29, you know, it'll add up after a while. I mean, we may not miss it at first, but 2-3 years down the road, be like, man, they've been sinking us.
It's so that's another thing that we got to figure out, right? Is this? I mean, do we keep doing this in its normal configuration? Do we? Cause a couple of things has happened fairly recently. I have made a decision to not spend a lot of time massively doing a slideshow ahead of time.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, when we send our products out, if there's not a slideshow requested in it, I'm probably not going to do one. I might do one for some special reason. I feel especially led to, you know, I have an extra shot of whiskey or something and I'm feeling really good. I don't know. I want to. Guys, you know, I'm always led to do crazy stuff and make one. But I think that if we get that interview, one of the things that happened that caused that. Oh, Sergeant Major, what's going on? One of the things that caused that is like I did a slideshow and for someone, and like it had like some pictures on Facebook of like their ex-wife and something, and they're like, please take that down. I'm like, oh man, okay, cool.
Gotcha.
So, you know, that's kind of one of the things, you know, that's happening. And I don't know. I look forward to we finally got the boxes from Ukraine. Okay. The coins are not in yet. Okay.
They came in. They came in, but they went back out.
Yeah, they're not good. So they were a no-go. So we're waiting on the new coins. So when we get the coins in boxes and you get moved into the new house, right, we're gonna ship out like 100 of these.
It's gonna be it's gonna cost me a lot of money. It's going
Right.
to cost us a lot of money, Will.
Oh
It's
yeah.
probably about $400 or $500. We have that many videos that we got to push.
Oh, I know. I have no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt.
That's
I saw. Yeah.
At anywhere from $6 to $10 a pop, it's going to cost us. Even if you just went with $5.
Yeah.
It's
So
probably that's a lot of money.
yeah, yeah. So one of the things that I don't know. It's just it's hard to. I don't know. Do we make a monthly report showing how much money's coming in and we've got our master rated donors
No,
of
I
people
think we
that
just keep our donors.
yeah.
I think we just keep our donors the way it is, and we continue to, request that donation, or we change it and turn it into a, initial cost. You have initial cost, and if you want extras, we add to it.
I don't ever want to do it like that.
I mean, just suggestion.
Yeah, I get it.
Obviously, we're on the same page, obviously,
Yeah.
because I don't want to do it either.
Yeah, I appreciate your suggestion. That's one of the things that I just don't think that I want to charge somebody to interview them. One of the things though that I think that's interesting and I'm confused about is why we haven't found a way to nominate more folks. Like you've been doing pretty good at getting folks that you're nominating kinda. And
Right.
and I wanna get it to where
They're
there is
nominating
somebody, yeah, there's somebody saying, and here's a donation on their behalf. I want to sponsor them. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I figured. The other thing that I thought was going to happen, we've talked about this, is I thought there was going to be some kind of a sponsor that came in and, and jumped in. I already told you, I always thought like Community Coffee for some reason. I don't know why. But, we've done some advertisements, we've had some great guests. The thing is that what we're producing is not something that, it's a long-term thing to sit down and listen.
You can't sell it because it's personal to the interviewee. So selling it's totally out of question.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that. Just for a second. I wouldn't say selling it, but let me tell you what somebody else is doing. So, Mike Burke has the 75th Heroes of the 75th, I think, and he's put his interviews behind a paywall. He's
yes,
got.
I actually saw that.
Yeah,
you get to watch a snippet of it, and if you want to watch the rest of it, you got to pay.
Yeah, and it's look, it's not like we're sitting here now. We got 4 viewers,
Yeah.
So I don't know who watches, who cares, but I am enjoying what we're doing, right, Joe?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think what we're doing is a great thing. I think it's brought a lot of people together. It's reconnected a lot of people, and it's enjoyable to talk to these great heroes. People that I would never even met before if it wasn't for this program. I just think what we're doing is awesome, Will, and I think we need to continue to do what we're doing. And I think, how you doing, Steve? Continue to do what we're doing, and I think if we stay positive, I think good things will happen for us. We've got some other ideas, i.e., having open functions at different locations. I guess you'd call it a party, if you will. Reunions. We could do. There's a lot of stuff we can still do here. To add to that, uh, yeah, I really enjoy what we're doing, and it does cost us a little bit of money, but we've been grateful to get some great donations, so that's helped out a little bit. So thank you for the donations
Oh,
first and
heck yeah,
foremost.
right. Oh yeah.
That's definitely awesome. You know that definitely helped us out a little bit. Uh, but no, I think we can continue to grow. I think Heroes Now. Hey, let's try it, man. Let's put something together. Let's get some people interested in it, and we'll throw it out there. Just like fishing, Will. You never know what you're gonna catch till you pull that line up.
Amen. So
And
here we are.
Go ahead.
So here we are at Heroes Now, and Joe and I are hanging out, and I'm gonna take and put the link. I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. And if you'd like to come and be a guest and hang out with us, there is the link right there. And there you go. And you'll come in, and then we'll link you up and bring you on and hang out. But in the meantime, it's Joe and I, and we're getting ready for Heroes Now.
Cool. I'm excited about this move, Will.
So take that pin and throw it on the other side of the room. There you go. There you go.
I got all this built up energy.
You got what do you? I love you, man. I love you, buddy. So tell me about the move. All right. So you just had back surgery.
Yep.
All right.
I think I'm going on the 25th of May. I had back surgery.
And so they went in there with a Roto-Rooter claw and rooted around in there and jackhammered it and screwed it. And the guy with a chisel, is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I was sleeping. But yeah, I still have some residual pain, but it's not in the back. It's all part of the surgery. They beat me up a little bit. They had to tenderize me before they fixed me.
I got you.
But yeah, at the same time, just prior to going into back surgery, we went and picked a house out, and we plan on closing on the 21st of this month. So I got a couple more days.
Oh wow! So you just had major back surgery, and you're about to move into a new house in another part of the state.
Correct.
All right.
I'm excited. I got a bigger office. I'll be able to stretch my legs a little bit more, and I can get my operation going pretty good over there, I'm sure.
All right. Well,
As you
I'm
can
excited.
see, there's nothing on my walls, just a bunch of boxes.
Oh yeah, you're putting the U-Haul box people into business, huh?
Yeah, I had to pay for those.
Right. I get it. Look, boxes, I don't know. Everything has a cost and everything is abundant until it isn't, right?
Well, you should say that because all these boxes have a do not throw away. Do not throw away, recycle.
Right.
So I guess I'm going to take them back to U-Haul.
It's an interesting thing.
I'm going to fix that problem.
Yeah, it's wild what we do. Like we ship everything all over the world in these cardboard boxes. It's amazing the number of boxes that end up, on porches all over the place.
Yeah. I'm glad you said something. I need to get some more coin boxes too. I'm glad you said something. I'm about out. I think I got like 12 left.
What kind of boxes?
The coin boxes. The cardboard box, the corrugated box that you can stand on.
I got you.
Yeah, I just realized when I was packing up my office that I didn't have that many left. No problem. We'll take care of it. Steve Archer said if you put a post on Facebook, somebody will take them in your local area. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. What are we waiting for?
I'm waiting on you, man. It's Heroes Now. You were telling me what I'm trying to do is to not talk, right?
Oh, you want me to talk the whole time?
No, I'm not saying about that, but the thought is that you're bringing some kind of a subject or some kind of a something. And again, some folks are going to come on soon and you know.
No, I get it.
That's just kind of what I'm thinking. I just don't talk unprompted a lot. I just keep my mouth shut, you know.
Right. So, what kind of subject you want to talk about? Or you just want me to pick one? I got to pick the subject.
I don't know. I don't have any idea. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to think about a Heroes Now concept of what's now. That doesn't involve me badgering somebody else with questions, you know?
Right.
Because that's what I do on Heroes Live, right?
Now, what are your thoughts on?
But
what are your thoughts on Russia?
What are my thoughts on Russia?
Based on what's going on right now, what are you thinking? How could we fix that?
Oh, so first off, we gotta look around and say we're sorry, right? As a country, we gotta say, oops, you're right. We kind of were arming these people over there and causing some problems. And after we do that, then we try to find out how to fix it. But the first thing you got to do is you got to at least admit that you poked, and provoke somebody. That's the first thing, right? The first thing is Americans look at each other and go, no crap. Are you serious? So this was happening and we were doing this and now we're going to sit back and kind of giggle about it and then send so much money. I mean, money is fake, right? Money is they're just printing money, just whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
you name it.
My first thing that I think that we would need to do is just look around and say, I'm sorry. That'd be the first step, I think. Now, what about Russia? Is Russia aggressor? Is Russia bad? All these things. Yeah, I'm sure they got their issues and all those kinds of things and bad things happen and all kinds of good stuff. They kill people and execute, blah, 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 blah. But don't tell me we don't do the same thing.
Right.
We're out there assassinating. If you look at the regime changes that we're a part of, that we were done, come on. So,
Do you think do you think what Russia did has affected our gas prices?
Of course.
In what way?
So look, it was put out very clearly by Joe Biden the other day when he looked at the gas and oil companies and said you can't have record profits if the American people are sitting there paying record prices. You gotta be, a good American. And the thing that nobody seems to kind of admit is that the investors in all of these global companies are not Americans. The shareholders are not all Americans. So you can say, this is an American company, but the shareholders who have a stake as much as anybody into what's going on have very, very different interests many times and have stakes in way different countries. You would be amazed if you looked at who owns our food processing in America. You know, you want to talk about the formula problem? The formula problem was caught by us protecting our babies. And now
Right.
we're making it like the governments can't do this and government can't do that. It's just a right-wing ploy to poo-poo on President Biden. President Biden is not responsible for how many factories make baby formula. One of the things that Americans forget, it seems, is that we are one of the things that America forgets many times, in my opinion, is that we are a capitalist country, I guess. But we can't be capitalist and look at the same folks and say you can't have record profits, right? I mean, what is it? Are you capitalist or what? So the
you got to be one or the other. You can't be both.
Right. So we haven't solved that yet. As we want to be capitalist, but yet have somehow making sure that the government makes sure there's baby formula on the shelf, and if it's not there, then you're blaming the president of the United States. It's just at every turn you make a leap that it's like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So I guess that's what I would say to the prompt that you just gave me.
No, you're absolutely right. The president, really, he's just a figurehead, and he oversees the rest of the economy. Yeah, he has no control over that, one way or another. That's the people. The people need to make that right. And as you stated earlier, the people are the ones who recognized it, and then it went all the way to the government level, which don't make any sense either. Actually, it does. You got the federal government, USDA, and everybody else monitoring all our facilities, so they are involved to a certain extent. Maybe they shouldn't be.
It was funny.
Maybe that's why we send everything out of the country, because it's too hard to follow the regulations of our own government.
Oh yeah.
Find a way cheaper to do it. So let's just send it out, and then we'll tax them on the way back in. And it just don't make no sense. It's a big circle. A resolution to that problem would be the people. The people have to fix that. The government, they need to admit wrongdoing, and they need to keep their nose out of stuff that doesn't pertain to them. And unfortunately, the government is tied up in everything. It don't matter where you look, whether it be health, food, even voting, shoot, anything. They're tied up in all of it. It's just crazy. Make you wonder. Yeah, the gas prices, the only way they're going to fix that is tap into our own resources. I used to work for the oil field. I did a short stint. I did about 2.5 years. I used to build power swivels. And I used to smile going to the pump, but I remember gas being like 79 cents, 69 cents. And everybody was complaining at the pump then,
All right. So what's a couple of ways that we would solve the gas crisis?
Well, one way is to tap into our own oil. We've got enough oil underneath our United States to supply the world for a long, long time.
Okay, so but we have to drill it. We have to get permission. The government has to allow us to drill the land, and the EPA's got.
They basically need to pop it. They need to plug it up, and we need to stop getting our oil from other places. But the problem is, once you do that, I mean, we've already got all the companies in place to strip all that and turn it into fuel or diesel or crude. So we have all the means to do it. Problem is, we're tying that in with 13% of, well, we were tying it in 13% of Russia's oil.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, sir, we've got the boss on now, and he's gonna solve all the problems, because I think that we're gonna have a great time hanging out. Colonel Shank, what's up, sir?
Hey, Will, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming out, hanging out. This is Heroes Now, and we're trying to just sort it out. You know, I'm going live, you know, at 8 p.m. Eastern with Gary Ward, and but until then, we just thought we might talk about some things. We were just talking, Joe and I, about gas prices and Russia and all that kind of stuff, and you know, it's neat. You know, he said one of the things that we could do is to ramp up production. One of the things that I thought we could do was to call Russia and China and agree to be good partners and shake their hands and decide to be a partner instead of an enemy. You know, that could be one of the options. You know, another option could be that, you know, I guess we can do some closer ties with South American oil stuff, right?
We shouldn't have to leave our own peninsula.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are some things.
I'm not an economist or a business major, but about a month ago, you know, as you start seeing the gas prices go up, you know, I reflected back to 2008 when we had the housing crisis, and you know, there's obviously several movies that exist out there regarding that, and they're all slipping my mind right now, but they're actually very informative. Granted, they're Hollywood, so you take that with a grain of salt, kind of like any one of us three writing a book about ourselves. You know, you kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? Because everything is roses, right? But you know, why not the president and the administration bring in these oil executives, you know, and have some type of summit and have that conversation similar to what took place in 2008 with regards to the housing crisis, as they brought in all these CEOs from the banking institutions, you know, the Wells Fargo, the JP Morgans, you know, they brought in the Treasury Secretary and his department heads, and then there were some engagements, and you know, and I can't sit here and spew out some factual numbers, but there were engagements with the president and the administration during that time frame. But why not try to have that conversation and figure out how to do this? Now, obviously, the housing crisis was a U.S. Challenge, right? I mean, it was a global challenge, but it was, you know, with banking institutions and so forth. The housing crisis was a U.S. challenge. These gas prices, you know, I've been in Europe the last 3 months, back and forth a couple times, and I've talked to some people elsewhere in the Middle East and some other places. You know, this is a global issue. How do you fix it? I don't know. I'm not the guy to figure it out, but there's a lot of smart people, even in the current administration, that need to take a look at it. But I agree with Joe. And Joe, I don't think we've ever met, so it's a pleasure.
I have met you, sir. Are you in 4 or 5?
No, it wasn't me. That was some other ugly ball guy.
You know what? I think I met you at a ball. Military ball.
Yeah, that's always a possibility, but I don't know, Will. I mean, the gas prices, man. You know, I'm no different than anybody else. You know, I'm not driving a whole lot, and I'm fortunate, but you know, it's only going to drive up inflation. No pun intended, but you know, with the way gas prices are, people aren't going to drive. People aren't going to spend money, and the cost of everything. You know, my wife was telling me about I don't know, she bought a bag of quinoa, right? I can't even spell quinoa, right? But she bought a bag of it, right? And it's doubled in cost, she was telling me. And so, everything's going up, because you see these tractor trailers on the interstate, right? Those ladies, those fine ladies and gentlemen, the backbone of America, right? The backbone of America, tractor trailers and the train system. Okay. And when I mean train, I mean like the logistics side of trains. Now, I don't mean like Amtrak and those passenger trains. But these tractor trailer drivers, I mean, they spend, I think prior to the cost of what diesel is today, they spend, they would usually spend anywhere between $500 and $800 on to fill up their trucks. And now it's somewhere around $1,500, $1,600. I mean, it's insane for them. And so, and they're filling up their trucks every day, right? So think about the independent truckers, but think about you can think about the big companies as well. I mean, and that's part of driving up the cost, and the inflation. Again, I'm not an economist, okay, but inflation, there's no red light right now. I mean, it's not slowing down. It's only going to continue to go up.
Yes, sir.
I'll stop right there because I'm not an expert in this area.
I think that Americans are going to continue to refuse to work until somebody comes up with something meaningful for them to do. There's not a lot of meaningful work in our communities where, unless you're driven towards being the medical service industry, or you're driven to be something like an engineer, there's certain people that grow up in the world and know exactly what they want to do, and they're driven straight forward. But look, I'm a wanderer. I'll try anything, and it's kind of been that way. And sometimes people do good at that, and sometimes people don't do good at that. But until we find meaningful work for our citizens to want to aspire to do, like one of the best jobs you could think about now is getting on the Amazon workforce, or even our engineers are creating things in ways that people that grew up in my generation and where my head works, I don't understand it. It's in another realm, right? And so I think that until America comes up with meaningful work, I think in many ways we're going to have to find some kind of supplemental way to make sure that the least of us at least have basic coverage and health care and things, because there's not a lot. Look, there's a lady in my community that has to be 80-something years old cleaning off the tables at the Jack's restaurant, the fast food restaurant. She has a cane as she's walking around picking up trays and putting them away.
God bless her heart.
And she says, you talk to her, you try to give her some money, try to do anything, and she says, no, child, I'm not taking no handout. I work for my living. And, I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll tell you this, I personally am just not going to go to a fast food restaurant and work. I will die in the street before I spend my time for whatever it is they pay. If they change it in some way. But I think we have, as a society, have gotten to the end of work. We're like we're watching it collapse, maybe. I'll tell you, the biggest people that are hiring in my community, Lockheed Martin, Troy, Alabama. Right? You know what's wild about that plant? Every person in that plant that's not management has the same job title. What? So you get hired up and then you're flattened. It is an amazing society that we've built for ourselves. And we are happy with it, I guess. I don't know. I do know this. People that have been overseas and see other countries and talk to citizens of other countries are a lot happier than Americans are. If you look, like, have y'all ever played the game Civilization or SimCity? or one of the roller coaster tycoon games, you look down from above and you see the citizens as they do their little thing. Maybe they go and get in line at the Ferris wheel and the line's too long, or maybe they ride the roller coaster and it makes them sick, and you can see the little emoticon over their head. If you were to take a snapshot of Atlanta and think about the emoticons that were running around and traffic, and so had to get to the mall, and there's a baby shower next week and I forgot to get the present, and all of the things that we shove into our brain, and then put into the fact that we don't talk to our neighbors at all. We don't know the people that are closest to us. Everybody that we talk to is connected via a telephone, or there's just some kind of other way anymore. My dad and mom tell of a time when everybody knew everybody in their community. There was no, this is before telephones. Dad tells about, having one of them BR 549 numbers, in a party line and a special ring. But I think that over time, that we have to find a way to love one another in a way that's different than maybe we're doing it now. I saw an article today about fathers being missing, and if there's something I could do better, it'd be a better dad, and fathers missing out of our society is a big thing, right?
Sure. It affects generations.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
I said it affects generations, is what it does.
Yeah, right. But, you have that father figure, and it's reality. Some children grow up without a father. Some children grow up without a father and a mother. And so, you want to paint a picture of, before I left the service, resiliency was one of those buzzwords, right? You want to paint a picture of a resilient individual. I'll give you a good example right now. When I was a battalion commander, I had and he was not an air defender. He was logistics, I believe, and he was a sergeant, made staff sergeant, which I had nothing to do with. And we were deployed. His mother passed away. 6 weeks later, his father passed away. I just couldn't fathom that. Putting myself in that young man's shoes and just thinking what he was going through. Just not just shortly thereafter the first death, but after the second death, and then even to this day. Well, that young man is now a W3, still serving. Saw him over in Germany when I was the 10th level MDC commander. But you want to talk resiliency, and again, it goes back to what you were referring to. Children that grow up without a father. Again, children, some that grow up without a father and a mother. It's a powerful story, and the example that young man set. The first time I saw him in Germany, and it was at a change of command. We I went to one. He was there, and we stumbled upon each other. He brought a tear to my eye to see that young man, and he was a W2 at the time, and now he's a W3. But the resiliency of some young people today, based on the challenges. You talk about pre-telephone era, and fast forward to today, everyone has something in their hand that has a screen on it, right? Unless you're my dad, he has a flip phone still, right? There's a few others out there. Probably Gary Plotnick probably still carries a flip phone. I don't know. Sorry, Gary. I hope you're listening. Just some of the challenges with in today's world. Whether it's it was cable TV at one time. In the late '80s or mid to late '80s. The dare I say the better off families had cable TV. The not so well off families like the Shanks didn't have cable TV early and didn't get it for a long time, right? I'm sure the cell phones went in the same direction, and still to this day. And so some of those challenges again that young people face, the haves and the have-nots, and I think what's special about it is Um, you talk about the challenges that people face. You talk about the lady in the fast food restaurant. We all serve. Joe, I believe you're retired, right?
Yes,
Right.
medically, yes.
Yeah, and so there are benefits. I mean, the benefits that I'm living on. I'll just speak for myself. Today, I'm extremely thankful for, and I always question coming up through the ranks if young soldiers actually, and the older I got, if young soldiers understood the benefits that, because you hear the complaining and the barracks talk and, hey,
Right.
it's the Army, it's not worth staying in the military because there's no benefit. Oh, hell there aren't. I mean, we're all three living proof, especially in the current, challenges, that we face right now with the economy that, I'm thankful for the benefits that I have and what I'm able to do and what I don't need to do,
Right.
today.
It's interesting, sir. You have been on several of the shows that I've watched with the Missile Defense Alliance and the different organizations about how we're trying to protect our country. Can you tell us about the threats to our country that you know about and what's happening on how we protect, at least the borders of our country,
Well,
Without getting too deep.
I mean, do I go to sleep? Do I sleep well every night? Of course I do. I've slept well every night for a long time because I've worked hard like you all and put my head on the pillow. I'm tired. When I go to bed, I go to bed, and I get up the next morning. We do it all over again. So, and I still to this day, as a retired, soldier, when I go to bed, I go to bed, and it doesn't mean I sleep well. And if I don't sleep well, it's my own fault, right? Because I only work part time. But as you mentioned, and I'm still in the defense industry. I'm an independent consultant. What a shameless plug I just made. But I do work, and I've been on a number of virtual telecasts with, and I'll plug Ricky Ellison because what he does as the CEO for the Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance, what he does for our community on a daily basis, and he does a lot more than just MDAA stuff. I mean, it's incredible. The guy has more energy than most people I've ever met. And in fact, they had a discussion yesterday, virtual, about cruise missile defense of the homeland. So if you didn't get to see it, you can go on the MDA website and check it out. And I don't get paid. Ricky doesn't pay me a dime to say that. But it was a great discussion. He had a couple former. He had a former Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, who was the Indo-PACOM J3. He was I think the J5 in EUCOM. We had Ty Thomas, who was the former deputy commander for PACAF. So I think it was Ty's last assignment on there. And of course, Ricky. Ricky's extremely knowledgeable, and he's been doing it for 20, 30 years. He studied it at USC when he went to the University of Southern California. So he's done it for a long time. But to get back after just in a roundabout way, your question, is there a concern? I mean, there probably should be. It was the 70s, Cold War times when they talked about Russian trawlers off the Atlantic seaboard, right? That had potential capability, or that at least were collecting, along the eastern seaboard. And then you fast forward the times, who's to say there aren't any type of cargo ships out there with some type of containers that possess cruise missiles that can just when ordered, on command, launch just a very large number of cruise missiles at designated locations. So is there a reason to lose sleep at night? No, I don't think so. But as again, I'm just a little guy in a big world. But how are we doing on artificial intelligence, machine-to-machine learning, or machine-to-machine just talking, machine learning, development of algorithms and so forth, where we can get to this predictability through agile. I'm using a lot of buzzwords, the good news is I know exactly what they mean, but that we can get to the agility of the predictable analysis and understanding, and stay one step ahead of any adversary, because the enemy only has to get it right once. See 9/11, see Pearl Harbor, right? They only got to get it right one time.
I hear you. So thanks for what you do. We appreciate it. A smart guy in the current air defense community, Colonel Retired Dave Shank, hero of mine. Absolutely cool guy. Did y'all see the air defense movie that's out on Netflix? I haven't watched it, but it's
it's the 33rd.
Joe, put the pen down. I
honestly didn't watch it, but I think I watched the first episode, actually. I don't even know if it was the first episode. I had to watch it because I saw the buzz on social media. Like we had a 33rd instead of 31st. Right. It's got 3 stars instead of 1.
I haven't seen it. Hey, what are you drinking there, Will?
This is Elysian Space Dust.
Never heard of it.
It's just a beer, IPA. It's an IPA.
Okay, all right. So I don't feel too bad drinking rum and Coke.
Yeah, no problem. It's perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so well, what else we want to talk about? This is so sir. So here's what I've been thinking. I've been trying to find a way to talk about, so when I do a Heroes Live, I'm asking questions that are timeless. We're not talking about local events. We're talking about big picture stuff. Well, it seems like it would be fun, and I have such a varied group of people that I talk to, my heroes and stuff, that it might be beneficial if we talked about things that mattered, like Joe brought up gas prices or Russia or homeland defense and stuff, and just talk and listen to what people have to say and what kind of things that are on folks' mind. And I've always thought of myself as in the middle. I've always felt like I could see the right and I could see the left. And I many times agreed with all the extreme stances to some extent, but knew that the real place was to be in the middle, that you could identify with these folks, all these places, but very few times do you need to be standing up and screaming about it if it's not your cause. And so I just thought maybe we could talk about things that mattered, and maybe somebody wants to listen to me talk some, and maybe not. I don't have any idea,
Go ahead, Joe. Jump on that grenade.
Yeah, I've jumped on that grenade already.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. I like the big picture, thinking outside the box. It's just, what kind of audience are we going to gather? Do we want the right wingers, or do we want the left wingers? Do we want the guys in the middle? It doesn't matter, right?
We want people that are willing to talk about things that matter, that are real to them, but respectfully.
Right.
Respectfully.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I believe that if we could find some kind of resolution to the situation or the problem they present us, or we present, or some mitigating factors, i.e., let's do a risk assessment. Well, if it happens this way, we need to, drive less and save more money for gas. What are the mitigating factors? Stay at home and watch Will and Joe, and you save all kinds of money.
So let's talk about a couple of the mitigating factors. One of the things that we can talk about, real things about gas prices. We've only talked about a little bit of it. One of the things we could do with gas prices is it has to do with nationalizing our companies in a way, right? China and Russia and all these other countries have their industry tied to their country. We do it. Our industry is tied to our country. We bailed the automobile industry out. We bailed the banking industry out. We're already tied. But the issue is that we allow our company.
Looks like it froze up.
Works up.
And
so, and then you get. I've already worked for my thing. And if we're going to solve the problem in any kind of way, we definitely have to somehow think about nationalizing in a way with our industry and getting the oil reserves released and part of the infrastructure. If you don't, that's an idea, I guess.
Okay, so how do we do that? Just by talking about it's not going to fix it.
Okay, so what you have to do is you have to at least think about the idea and go. So here's what Joe Rogan says. Joe Rogan says the only way to compete with China and Russia is that we have to really think about taking our industries and making them American industries and do American things in the way that China does. Look, China says in a very heavy-handed way, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And they pay their people. If you look at the Chinese person, the average Chinese person over there, they're fairly happy. Yeah. They're not revolting and complaining. They're getting their minimum goods and services. If you look at the Russian people, they're relatively happy and healthy. And they're okay in their world. They're not mad at an American. If I would just show up there, would they punch me in the nose? I don't know. If a Russian showed up here, would you punch him in the nose?
You bring cheap beer to my house, I'll punch you in the nose.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, so let me push back a little bit on that, Will.
Sure, I love it.
And I enjoy watching Joe Rogan, and I think at times that he can be a little overboard, but that's just how he is. And I always take with a grain of salt. Again, it goes back to writing your own biography, right? Well, that's how I saw it happen. Well, these guys are actors, right? It's almost like watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard or whatever her name was, the court proceedings that were going on, right? I did not watch all of it, by the way, but I saw some of the snippets, right? And at the end of the day, those guys are actors, right? And so, to me, I honestly don't know if they're acting or if they're actually being sincere. But we take your comments on not you personally, but just what you said. You know me, I'm not one to beat anybody up because I'm the farthest from the expert in the room. But China has over a billion people in population, right? Well, we also know everybody's heard of the sweatshops and the challenges that some of these big Fortune 500 companies, and I'll just pick one, Nike, right? They've been in trouble, when they find these young, and when I say young people, I mean children that are, working 20-hour days, just nonstop, sewing whatever for the Nike Corporation. Again, not to beat up Nike. I don't own any, by the way. But not to beat them up, and making what we would say is pennies on the dollar. So we talk. We have a fight in our country about what minimum wage ought to be. I mean, these people are making 10 cents an hour. And it's not just in China. It's it's in Latin America. It's all around the world, right? So how do you build? How do you do development? How do you how do you find ways to leverage internal the United States of America, whether it's through textiles or what have you. And the challenge is the cost. And so I mean, why do you think Walmart's so popular? I mean, I go to Walmart. I don't just go there to look at the people, although that's entertaining, right? But if you need something cheap and you need it quickly, I mean, run to Walmart. If you need it the next day, you buy it on Amazon, right? But where's most of that crap from Amazon come from? Overseas.
Walmart.
Yeah. And so, and reference the Russia, and I'm being very sarcastic when I say this and mostly facetious, but, if you badmouth the administration in Russia, they'll poison you to death, right? If you push back, I mean, look at this guy Navalny. I was reading about this guy yesterday. This is the guy they poisoned. I think he was in England at the time, right? And I mean, he was in like a coma for an extended period. Well, he got on a plane. I don't know what he was thinking, and he and his wife, they go back to Russia. Well, he gets arrested. And now I read yesterday they had transported him from one prison to like a Rikers Island. What's the one out in California? Well, it doesn't matter. California. There's one in Colorado. A maximum security prison where it's just terrible conditions. And I would say probably our Rikers Island probably looks like a minimum security prison compared to other prisons around the world. But nonetheless, that's my point. I mean, it goes. Dare I get into the free speech thing? The First Amendment. But
yeah, one of the things that I think, like when you bring up Russia poisoning people, absolutely, right? The Clintons also suicide people, right? We can't point our finger at somebody else because we've got the same issues. Look, if you think Epstein committed suicide, I mean, come on, it's crazy to think that happened, and so. It's just a very interesting dilemma to be in these days and wonder what the truth really is. And I'll tell you, after a while, you begin to not care. You're not worried about it, right? You just like, look, I can't worry about it. I don't want to hear about this. The sanctions over here and Taiwan is this and we've got to do that. After a while, you just turn that switch off and you go, I cannot listen to this anymore.
Yeah, you become numb to it, and I mean, you could almost argue, not almost, you could argue that, pick a conflict, an extent, I mean, you could pick the Afghanistan conflict, right? The OEF, right? I mean, it just went on for so long that the American public, not everybody, but a number, whatever that number is, they just tune it out. They're like, oh, we're still in Afghanistan? I didn't know that. Right. I mean, and you're starting to see it with, the Ukraine Russian war. That's what it is. Because they're over 100 days now, and so as it continues to go on, it's just like, oh, okay, they're still fighting over there. Well, it doesn't impact me. I'm worried about the gas prices here in the United States of America, and how I'm going to feed my family tomorrow. No, I hear you, man. It's you become numb to it. Dare I say? And let's just it's the elephant in the room. Let's talk about guns, man, and talk about what continues. Not just in Uvalde, which was just horrific. And how. We can talk about some of the policies that need to be enforced or changed or what have you when it comes to purchasing a gun. And I own several guns, and you all probably do too. But I'm a responsible gun owner. You talk about Uvalde, you talk about Buffalo, you talk about South Carolina. I'm down here in Florida. They just had a it's not a celebration, obviously. Well, it could be a celebration of life, but they just had the 6th annual or the 6th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub, the gay nightclub shooting. Sorry about that. Killed 49 people. So again, gun control. I mean. But yeah, you hear about all these mass shootings, but I mean, look at Chicago, look at Detroit, look at New York City, look at Philadelphia, look at any big city, and just the number of gun violence every single day. It just when or how does it stop? I don't have the answer.
Right. Well, I do. I think that I have a plan that I put forward, the Marshall's Weapons Safety and Sponsorship Program, that some people seem to giggle at. Some people say, you're crazy. Some people say it's a great idea. I talked to a gun manufacturer. I have a friend who's a hero of mine who is a big name gun manufacturer. He makes firearms that you would, if I said their name, you would know who it was. And I talked to him and I pitched it to him, and he says it's a great idea. And he pitched it to his COO and his CEO and his wife. And right now they just think it's death. But I think it should be a voluntary program. And I can imagine a pawn shop or anybody says, here, if you want to buy a gun from my shop, I'll sell you a gun, but show me that you're competent, you're trained, okay? Here's some basic steps. You can take a 6-hour class, an 8-hour class, I don't know, but a class that if you take this class, you're going to go to a range and you'll shoot a pistol and a revolver and a rifle and a shotgun, and at the end of the class, you get certified for something, right? If you want to get an AR, a sniper rifle, or a hunting certification, you go to another kind of class, and then you can buy a gun. That's one step. We do some kind of we already make people do gun laws and go to if you're going to get a hunting license, you got to go to a class. We just make it for buying a gun. And then the second part of it is when you go buy a gun, you take a sponsor with you. There's another individual that walks into the shop with you that buys a gun with you. They're competent. They have their training card, and they're basically just looking the gun owner in the eye and say, or a gun salesman in the eye and say, yeah, I'm sponsoring this person. Let's get them a gun. We need a gun, for whatever reason it is, Now, if they go in there going, we're going to go shoot up the Walmarts, then, obviously no. Okay. But if they're a competent person, I think that if we were to do it voluntarily and not some law, we all know these laws are just, if you're this and that and you meet this and there's all kinds of penalties and crap. I think that the industry should make a pledge that we want to sell to the good guys. So get this training. Make it very easy to get grandfathered into the training. Very easy. You're a veteran. You got a DD-14. You've been to the police academy. I don't know what. Make it very easy to get grandfathered into the training, because we have so many people that have access to guns. That they've been glamorized, that these marginalized people can get them and do bad things. And this won't fix everything, but I think that plan, if it's done voluntarily, where we as Americans say, yes, I will go get training before I get a gun. And yes, I'll take somebody with me that's competent when I go buy a gun as my sponsor. I think that's common sense.
It's interesting. Keep pursuing it. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's a mitigating factor, but it's not going to stop it.
Well, at some point we got to do something, because whatever this doing nothing is nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Agree.
Here's what I think. I think that as people take this training and get their certification card and are proud of being one of the good guys, remember, I think that we need more guns sooner before we got to have less guns, because we have to have a good guy with a gun at some place to stop these crazies that are getting access to them somehow. The people like, sir, you were talking about violence that was happening in the cities, in the American cities. Look, that's a different kind of, that's a different kind of folks that are shooting each other. And yeah, we can stop that with measures, but those people got guns that they're passing around. And this isn't somebody that turns 18 and goes to a gun store and buys an AR and goes out and just kills everybody. The other thing, obviously, we got to fix is the people that have ARs that are just left out, or any kind of gun that's just left out unsecure for anybody to go unhinged with. the thing that makes an AR so dangerous is that you can reload it so quick, and sports is so easy, right? Look, you pull that charging handle on the rear, make sure that magazine's fed, and that next bullet's going to go in 99% of the time. That's what makes it so powerful. No, you don't do that with your hunting rifle, right? You don't do that with your 30-30. You don't do that. Even though those were the technologically beast at the time, what we have now that you can just go to Walmart and buy if you want to is a weapon of war, a modern battle rifle. And you can walk out of there just like that guy in Uvalde did and go unhinged. I mean, if you watch the videos about what happened, he roamed around the outside of the school for 10 minutes before he went inside with a gun shooting. He was overmatched, or the police were just so overmatched, by a man with one AR. And he wasn't even trained.
A lot of these crazies, I don't know how else to describe them. These mass shootings, think about where they take place. They take place where no one has a gun, right? Schools have resource officers. But how many guns are in a church? Think about it. Not many.
I'll tell you how many guns are in my church. Don't you walk up into the First Baptist Church of Headland, Alabama, and think there ain't a gun up in there. You know what I mean?
Ooh. Yeah, well, I'm with you, and I go to church almost every Sunday, and I say that predicated on the fact that I legally carry a gun everywhere I go, and so I'm with you. There's that old saying. I don't know how that saying goes, but don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? And so it's not about me walking around with a gun legally, I might add, or reinforce, but about me protecting my family, me protecting the people around me, the innocent people around me, in the event something does happen. So, and I think there are a lot out there. And I'll tell you, the reason why my wife and I both got a concealed carry, we were at Fort Sill our last assignment, and the Governor Stitt of Oklahoma, he authorized open carry for anyone, right? And so, and I think there were some restrictions, like if you had a previous felony, things like that. But I'm not sure. I had to go back and research that. But open carry, and when we had just gotten there like 2 months prior, and we heard that was going to be implemented on a certain date. I think it was in November, and we got there in end of September, early October. I was like, wow, we probably ought to kind of try to do something about this. And surprisingly, and this is Oklahoma. And when I think Oklahoma, I think the Wild West, right? And I think the late 1800s, and I think cowboys. But surprisingly, after that date had passed, and for the duration that we were there, which wasn't but about 13 months, I think I saw 2 or 3 open carrying, like at the Home Depot, or the local or the Lowe's, and I don't think I saw it anywhere else. But which I thought was odd, because I don't think I would ever do an open carry. I'd want somebody to be guessing that hey, is that guy got a gun or not? And I'd rather keep the bad guy guessing.
It's interesting the tactics that we use and the things that we have to do. I think there almost has to be a 3-pronged plan. I think one of the first things we really need to think about is doing exactly what you and your wife have done. You've gotten training, you've put a weapon on your hip, and you've agreed to be one of the good guys. And you're out there and you're legal and you're a responsible gun owner that has agreed to be at the tip of the spear if you're needed. I think that is very important. Second, we have to begin to do that for more people. Get them training, get them weapons if they want them, get them proficient with them, and move forward. America is about, self-protection. I'm all for it. I have no issues. But then the third thing we have to do is we have to find those weapons that are out there that could get into the hands of people that are either criminals or marginalized people that might get unhinged for some reason. And we need to put measures in place to make sure that those folks
Frozen.
get weapons. Criminals are going to get weapons. Criminals are going to get weapons no matter what, in some kind of way. They're going to get weapons. And we got to understand that. But one of the things we got to do is limit access to folks that either are red flagged or have marginalized. The folks that can't get a sponsor to show up with them to buy a gun, right? The guy that's like, no, dude, I ain't sponsoring you. I call it my crazy cousin, right? The cousin you have that don't need a gun. We have to find a way to limit that. And it's kind of got to be voluntarily almost, I think. I've been in lots of gun stores, and they don't sell it to everybody. They won't sell a gun to everybody. You walk in there a little flaky, they'll send you packing.
Hey,
we got to do that.
Hey, Will, I've purchased a gun out of a pawn shop, and I had to go through the whole process, even with a concealed carry. I have concealed plus open here in Texas, so even with that certification, I still had to do the background. Do they not do that in your state or what? Can I just come to your state and buy a gun?
So I don't know about all that. Here's what's different about my plan. Okay, my plan is you have to have that card in order to purchase it. You got to have gone through the training. Right. And then the second thing is you got to have a sponsor there with you at the purchase, at the physical purchase, some other adult.
I agree with that to some extent. I'm an adult. If I want to go buy a gun, I want to go buy a gun.
So just take a buddy with you.
I don't think I should have to take somebody with me to buy a gun. However, if it's a mitigating factor, if everybody else was doing it, I'd do it too, I guess.
Exactly, right? I don't want to go to a hunter education course. My daddy and my uncle taught me all I need to know, but I ended up going, okay, and I got my little card, and there you go.
I still got my hunter's card.
See?
So I still have a hunter's card, and I'll tell you what, it's still tough for me to get. If I didn't produce that, I couldn't get a hunting license.
Yeah. And
because I'm not grandfathered in yet. I'm 48 years old. I'm still not grandfathered.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm just a young buck.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're here, Heroes Now. We're talking about topical things. We've hit gun control and gas prices and Russia and homeland defense and movies on Netflix and dealt with internet issues and going in and out and just having a good time.
Steve Archer says his big thing is helping other veterans. So I think if we incorporate that Vets for Vets leadership in that Warrior Bonfire program, I think that will satisfy some of Steve Archer's requests.
So yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. Yeah, so our we've changed our the folks we're donating money to, and it's the Warrior Bonfire program, and it's Purple Heart recipients and invited guests, and just talk about and have events where they get a chance to talk about things, and it's think about sitting around a bonfire and telling stories, and it's getaway weekends and things like that. So that's approved. We're going to be sending money their way, a percentage of the donations you give to Joe and I. We so appreciate it. Formerforce.com is our website. Formerforce.myshopify.com is our merchandise thing. If you use the coupon code Audacia,
Or
You get 34% off at checkout. And
that's such an odd number.
That's showing a little bit of a bias.
yeah.
What about serving the whack, you know, and 1-4?
Hey, I don't know. I'll give you your own code, and you can get 14% off. Then
14% off, huh? Yeah, I mean, I stumbled out of an airplane 6 times in my Army career, you know. So.
Yeah. I love it. So, you know, that's kind of what we're doing. This is Heroes Now, I guess, and maybe, you know, maybe this is something we do, maybe not. I don't know, but I tell you this. I think that our heroes, all of us, are way more on the same sheet of music than we are on the opposite sheets of music. And I think that coming together would be a good thing instead of a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. I believe we all have more common ground than the civilian on the outside. It's obvious. It's evident. You run into a veteran, you're comfortable talking to them versus talking to a civilian about something you did in the military, because they just get lost in the they get lost in the verbiage and they have no idea. Can you explain that for me? You know, so yeah, there's a lot of common ground there for us to be on the same page.
Brotherhood, man. It's a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood. It sure is.
Whether it's guns or deployments, you know, or just simply tough times. I mean, you know, we've all, you know, dare I use the term, embrace the suck. You know, when I was a captain, I was battery commander, and standing with my first sergeant, Great American John McClure, and my driver comes up to us and says, "Sir, what happens if it rains?" And I looked at my first sergeant, and we both said it simultaneously: "We're going to get wet." And you know, this was just, you know, I'm not picking on the young soldiers' mentality, but that was just, you know, at the time, you know, and this is, you know, in 2000 or whenever that was, the year 2000, pre 9/11, but it was just, you know, interesting times. But my point there is it's brotherhood. So we've all embraced the suck. We've all gotten wet. We've all slept in some really just terrible positions, locations, and you know, I'm not a light fighter, you know, Will, but you know, I've hugged you know, the seat of my Bradley fighting vehicle, you know, a few times, because you just kind of curl up, you know, because that's the only space you got, so you sleep where you can or what have you. But you know, we've all got experiences of just some of the worst conditions, but and we can all relate. You know, I mean, think about it. You know, some of the first things, you know, senior leader, when they're out glad handing and kissing babies, as I call it, you know, what's the first thing, you know, they ask young soldiers, you know, "Hey, troop, where you from?" You know, I mean, there's that again, not just the brotherhood, but that sense of relationship. And you know, what's the easiest way to, you know, to begin a conversation with a young soldier, other than the fact you wear the same uniform, right? And we've all heard it. "Hey, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you there, Airborne." You know, unless you're Gary Plotnick and you jump off the roof in your pants, right? Both legs. But nonetheless, you know, I mean, you know, who's your favorite football team? I mean, the standard questions are out there that senior leaders ask, and they do it for a reason. You get to know young soldiers because there's that relationship that we all have those things in common. That, well, sir, I really don't like football. Well, then, you know, those senior leaders know how to dance pretty quick around that. And well, what do you like to do? You know, what do you do in your off time? You know, simple things. So, but again, it's a brotherhood. So I'm sorry. Hey, are we broadcasting?
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Can we see comments from anybody? Or
Yeah. So there's Steve Archer. He says, "My big thing is helping other veterans."
Amen. Amen to that.
Let's see.
Brotherhood. We should be helping each other.
Sergeant Major, I forget her name, but she was Specialist Dana
Murray.
Murray, yeah, she's in Sergeant Major's Academy. I think she's going to be teaching the Sergeant Major's Academy. She said
I've been trying
hi.
to get Murray for a long time.
I know, right? Yeah. So that's who's on here. If you're on here now, say hi. We haven't had a chat for a while. This is Heroes Now, and we're talking about, you know, more topical things. What's happening? What we think. You know, I shared this whole long diatribe while I had no internet service at all, and so it was just all blur, 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 and I'm talky. You know, and so anyway, we're just talking about things, and so Joe has been tasked with bringing up subjects and things to talk about, and so we've been doing that. Well, that's what we did, right? That's what we did, and so that's what we're doing. And let me move this down here. There we go.
Hey, I'll tell you this, man. I live in Palm Coast, Florida. You know, if anybody's ever passing through here, I mean, I'm 4 miles. Thankfully, it's very quiet, but I'm 4 miles from I-95. So
Hey, I'm getting ready to go on vacation. Maybe Will and I can come down there and visit.
Come on. Palm Coast is in between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach. That's the best way to describe it. It's a small, dare I say, a retirement community. I mean, my next door neighbors are old. And I mean, I'm getting old, but they're in their 70s. And I mean, it's a retirement community. And so I brought down the median age on our block, at least. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I tell you, I mean, dare I go back to the term brotherhood, but you know, people just swinging through here. I mean, I'll feed you lunch. You can jump in my swimming pool. I'll take you for a freaking boat ride. We'll go fishing if you got time. So, you know, as long as everything lines up and I'm available. I'm not going to let you take my boat, Will. Sorry. No offense.
Hey,
but,
yeah, I know. That's something I don't ever want to do. I never like driving other people's boats. No, yeah. I love riding on other people's boats. I
didn't like nobody driving my own boat. What are you talking about?
I don't have a problem with people driving my boat if they want to and they're confident with it. I don't have an issue.
It took my wife probably about 2 years. She knew how to back that boat down the ramp before she could drive that boat.
That's pretty good.
That's great.
That's pretty good. But my point there is, you know, anybody swinging through, man, look me up, give me a call, stop by if you need a rest stop. And I mean, it's like it's almost like a campground on any military installation. You know, they're pretty nice and they're very convenient. You know, you're not going to park your Winnebago in my front yard because that's against the county ordinance. But
we don't know any of those.
Not my ordinance, okay? But yeah, I mean, it's a brotherhood. You know, at the end of the day, I'm here.
Amen. So you want to? We've been on it an hour. We got another something to talk about. Are we about done? What are you thinking?
What's going on? Any other comments from the crowd?
No, not so far.
Great job. I appreciate y'all.
It's
Sergeant Major Dana Murray. She's just too busy to schedule anything.
Archer says he don't loan out his boat and his guns.
I don't blame you. I mean, I wouldn't either.
Amen.
I'll be in Fort Sill, Oklahoma next week. Anybody out there is listening.
Oh wow, cool. What are you going out there for?
Yeah, I do a little bit of work. Do as little work as possible, but
I got you.
Well, since that movie came out, he's got to go look for the 33rd.
Yeah, maybe they're out there. I'll ask the 31st commander.
Right next to 31st.
Yeah, see if the commanders are out there, if they can help me find it. It's like finding soft spots on a Bradley or what's the grid square
hammer.
And go hey, go find the 33rd. They're somewhere west of 31st headquarters. So I haven't seen that movie. I'll check it out. You know, I heard something today. Speaking of movies, you know, there I was on the Facebook, and I'm there, and a friend of mine from high school, she put on there that she called it she called it D, like the D movie theater or something, but I guess it's some type of new movie theater where, in using the new Top Gun movie, that you actually feel the vibration when the aircraft take off in your seat and things like that. and I'm probably not explaining it very well, and maybe somebody else can do better than me, but I had never heard of that. But what an interesting concept.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like Universal Studios almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly supposedly they're pumping in smell and stuff into the theaters, and then they're also, some places are making smaller boutique theaters, right?
Mhm.
And serving dinner and a meal and different things, you
With
know.
recliner chairs.
You imagine AP8? That'd be awesome.
I believe you can. I believe you can drink beer there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's the
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine if popcorn and Coke cost what? Why much they charging for a dang beer at the movie theater?
Well, if you
$10 a
take the beer in your pocket, you're not paying anything for it. No, I'm just saying.
You put it in
Don't
your-
bring cheap beer.
You put it in your wife's purse.
There you go.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. Isn't it funny how as Americans we are quick to cut corners and to do things like bring in outside drink, even though like we know we're not supposed to. Isn't that weird?
Well,
Does it become a self-conscious thought, or is it something like, hey, I just want to save some money? I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly take all my stuff to the. I buy it all when I get there. I'm not that kind of person, but I do see a lot of people pulling out stuff, and then I go back looking for it at the concessions, can't find it. So, I guess my wife used to. They used to go out to the movies quite a bit, and they used to bring all their snacks.
Yeah.
Way back when. So.
Ethical dilemmas had to do with my children growing up and being old enough to be qualified for a kid's discount or not. Like, if you were this age and you got this, if you're at this age, you got that. And so we had just celebrated one of my daughter's birthdays, and she wanted to pay the next price, but no, Mama didn't want that. No, you got to say you're whatever age. And, that didn't go over well. I just thought that was an interesting dilemma, you know.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Well, I leverage my military discount everywhere I go.
I try.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing with the military discount, right? A lot of us will go certain places, and shop for the military discount. Like Lowe's military discount now, they've neutered it. You can hardly get anything for discount from Lowe's. It's like 2% on certain items, 5% on others, and lumber, nothing.
Yeah, lumber is zero across the board, but you know what you do? That's when you tell them, you know what? I'm gonna go right across the street to Home Depot because I'm sure they'll honor my 10%, and they'll usually change their tune fairly quick if you talk to the right people. So, and if not, go across the street.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Home Depot's in the same way. It is an interesting. They have their own quirks and issues for sure.
Yeah, they do. So, all right, Will, I'm gonna log off. I don't know what that means, but
I love it. Yeah, it's interesting. How do we hang up when it's over? So let's call it over. And I love you guys. Thanks. It's been a fun. Bye, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.